You didn't even have your beer ready before we started recording.
You're right.
That's the state we were in.
I finished the beer that I was drank, but while waiting for you.
Okay, I was rock climbing. Excuse me. We should have recorded yesterday. You went to church instead.
You were in a closet yesterday.
It was going to have good sound quality. I prepared. I brought my computer to Skylar's. Okay. Hello, mortals, monsters, and myth lovers alike. You're listening to Podcast of Poseidon, where we explore ancient myths and their modern retellings by reading Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson and the Olympians. This is Chapter 6, The Oracle of Delphi. I'm your co-host, on loan from the Hunters of Artemis, Darien and Smartt. Joining me is my host and brother, hailing from Cabin 5, DJ.
For those of you who don't know, Cabin 5 is Ares, the god of war. He's just kind of cool. I like him as a dad. He's blessed me with many of things, mainly anger. That's not true. I'm kind of vibing.
No,
but
you're a honey badger.
I truly am a honey badger. But, okay, fine. He's blessed me with my stature, all right?
This is true. You could have been a football player.
I'm a big, scary guy. Like,
You're a big guy. No one would look at you and think you were scary.
Yeah. If I didn't like pain, I probably would have been a football player. I just didn't like feeling hurt.
Okay, so...
Did I phrase that wrong?
Yeah!
Ah.
We should...
Oh, yeah, I did. I did phrase that wrong, huh? No, I fucking hate pain. This shit hurts. If it hurts, it hurts. I hate that shit. I cannot handle fucking stubbing my toe, let alone getting absolutely fucking ram-blasted by a guy twice my size.
We're gonna circle back to this when we get to the actual Ares episode. I feel like this is something we need to explore further.
Maybe.
But for now, let's talk about oracles.
Woo!
So, DJ, let's do a refresh, please, for me and for our listeners. What's the deal with the Oracle of Delphi in the Percy Jackson books? Just in Lightning Thief.
In Lightning Thief, and honestly all the other ones, she doesn't really change up until Last Olympian. Mm-hmm. She's just a fucking corpse. Just a corpse that's been like mummified, just vibing in the attic of the big house.
Like with a hippie corpse, right?
Talking about skeletons in your closet, am I right?
Mummies in the attic.
Pretty much.
I love that Magic Treehouse book.
Anytime someone's like, you get a quest, you have to go up to the Oracle of Delphi. Mm-hmm. And she spits green smoke at you and slays down the fat rhymes and then just talks about it. Doesn't really talk about it, but... No,
she just slaps down those fat rhymes. And then you have to talk about it.
And then you gotta figure that shit out.
You gotta figure it the fuck out.
Confusing as hell.
Now, DJ, what do you know about the Oracle of Delphi in context of ancient Greece and Greek mythology?
I know that she was one of the most trusted advisors. Mm-hmm. Even if like, yeah, maybe there were gods, speaking to her. Maybe she was high all the time and speaking out her ass. Like, which one's more...
So, yes, these are both true things. Third true thing, she was, this may surprise you, not a hippie mummy, actually.
No, she wasn't.
Not a hippie mummy. No, the Oracle of Delphi was actually a real person, or more accurately, a bunch of real persons.
Yeah, whenever the person's lifeline was running dry, the Oracle of Delphi would just act like Parasite and split and attach to somebody else. And just suck the life out of them and go to the next one.
What?
I don't know what to tell you. That's what I got from the...
No, okay, so this is your episode now. You're going to tell me, or you've taken control. So please elaborate. Where does the Oracle of Delphi get their powers?
The gods.
Which god specifically?
It's Apollo, isn't it?
It is Apollo, yeah, but why are you asking me? This is your episode now. Parasite Man?
Oh, I didn't realize I was the Oracle of Delphi all of a sudden. Why are you consulting me about shit that you... Come on, we know how things go. I have nothing planned for this episode.
Great. All right, well, fortunately, I do have many, many notes. So, the Oracle of Delphi was headquartered in the city-state of Delphi, which was, again, a real place. It was considered to be the center of the world. Maybe that was a little bit inaccurate, but in Greek mythology, Zeus released two eagles, and one flies to the east and one flies to the west, and where they meet up was obviously going to be the midpoint of their orbit, their rotation, and that was Delphi. Now, this is assuming that one eagle didn't slack off a little bit, or one eagle wasn't trying to show off for Zeus and flew extra hard, but it's the midpoint. Also, happened to be outside or in the same location where Apollo killed the python, which is just a big ass snake. Just a big ass snake. But this is not Apollo's episode, so we're not going to talk about that.
He gets it next 3 books from now, 2 books from now.
Someday. Maybe we'll just skip him until we get to the Trials of Apollo. I don't know.
Yeah, right?
There's a lot to talk about there. The Oracle of Delphi. Well, the Oracle of Apollo specifically. Like, that's where she was supposed to get her prophecies from. They were gifted to her from Apollo, who was the god of prophecy. She was obviously a priestess of Apollo, or the Pythia, which obviously comes from Python, which comes from Apollo and the snake, which we're not going to talk about. Basically, if you lived in Greece you... Do you want this to be your episode?
What?
What?
I didn't say that. I was just commenting on Apollo fucking a snake.
I don't think that's what I said.
I probably misunderstood you. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. Basically, if you're in Greece and you had an important decision to make, you would go talk to the Oracle, who was only available one time a year. Literally, I think, during a festival. Which meant there was a line. So all the myths where the Greek hero just rolls up and talks to the Oracle, either they had really, really great timing, or maybe if you were important enough, the Oracle would see you upon request.
I feel like it's if you're important enough, the Oracle does it. Because
yeah, that sounds right.
Leonidas,
if you're a farmer,
King of Sparta fucking consulted with the Oracle before he went to war.
Yeah. So, if you're just, a farmer and you need to know if it's going to flood or drought or something this year so you can plant your crops so your family doesn't die, you're shit out of luck. I'm sorry to tell you, man. You have to come back once a year, and hopefully that line isn't as long as it's going to be.
Gotta line up, 3 days in advance, like you're trying to get that PS5.
Yeah, you gotta get in line.
Or online pre-orders.
Yeah, there's that. You have to get a bot. I don't know. What would be an ancient Greek bot? I'm just like a spirit.
Yeah, they're called Automatons. Daedalus fucking made them.
Yep, exactly. There it is. Or you get to be a Greek king, and you need to know if your unborn child might murder you. Well, you could probably just go talk to the Oracle whenever you feel like it.
Yeah.
And of course, you're going to have to wait a hot second, even if you do get an appointment with the Oracle, because she has to get in the right mindset for this ritual. You don't just walk up and start spitting out prophecies left and right with, grape juice on your fingers. And I don't mean, grape juice. I mean, you were eating grapes. It's Greek. Did that come across?
I don't think so.
Oh, well. I tried.
It's whatever.
There was a process before
I thought she was finger painting with grape juice.
Maybe she was. She was already on something.
It is the Oracle of Delphi, dude.
Delphi. No, Delphi.
Delphi. Wikipedia said both, so,
Okay, well, my cool friend Skylar...
They're interchangeable.
My cool friend Skylar, who was in a sorority and did Greek life and had secret handshakes, said it's Delphi. So, we're going to listen to my cool friend Skylar. Now, there is a whole process to getting prophecies from Apollo, and I'm going to reference, I believe this one is from a Medium article on the topic, which I will link in the show notes. Basically, it was a lengthy process, and it could take out, a whole day. So the priestess had to perform actions of purification, such as washing in the nearby Castalian spring, burning laurel leaves, and drinking holy water. Next, they were going to sacrifice an animal, usually a goat, but pretty standard stuff.
Yo, Luke's last name was Castalian.
Hey, there it is. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, there we go.
And that is because his dad wasn't Apollo, but Apollo's oracle bullshit did kind of fuck up his life. Oh, man, that's 100%. Dark. It's dark. Yeah. It's not spelled the same way, but...
They burned a Castalian. Burned his life. I mean, maybe not like physically burn him, but I mean...
But it's a metaphor. Okay.
Yeah.
Then the person who was coming for the prophecy would present their offering, and then they would be allowed into the temple where the priestess did her thing and, had received the prophecy from Apollo, usually after indulging in a drug or potentially some sort of like natural gas induced state of ecstasy. End quote.
Me too.
Davis, do you often
sounds like a Saturday night?
Now, do you often spit out rhyming prophecies after partaking in your?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
I just sit there on the couch and you don't even know if I'm alive or dead.
So no one should travel to you to get a prophecy.
No,
would probably not be great.
I'll freak the fuck out if I see someone. I swear.
Much like in Percy Jackson, the prophecies of Greek mythology were often used to drive these plots forward. How do we act? There is Hera's being a bitch. The gods are angry. There is a monster. I don't know what to do. Here's a person who can tell me exactly what I need to do because they know exactly what's going to happen. But unlike the Fates, who are usually pretty straightforward when they say shit, the prophecies from the Oracle do tend to be much like in Percy Jackson. You kind of have to interpret them, and often you don't know what'll happen until they come to pass. Sometimes they're pretty straightforward. Sometimes you get, like your Hercules, and Hera just caused you to go in a state of, mania, and you just murdered your wife and kids, and now you need to know how you can atone for this guilt and this, thing on your soul, and the Oracle tells you, well, just go to your cousin and just do whatever he says for a while. And then you suddenly have 12 labors you got to take care of. Sometimes you're the king of Lydia who wants to go to war against the Persians. So you go to the Oracle's advice, and the Oracle says, if you cross the river, a great empire is going to fall. Now, if you're a king who thinks he's going to step up to Persia, you're probably thinking, I got you. We're going to win this thing. But no, this King Croesus, who was the most famous consultant of the Oracle, decided he was going to do just that. He got this prophecy, major empire falls, he's going to take his army across the river, and he's going to take on Cyrus.
And isn't it Xerxes? It's not Xerxes at that time?
He's going to take on the Persians.
There you go, the Persians.
And instead, the Lydian Empire fell.
Yeah, sounds about
so
right.
That's another thing where it's very easy to misinterpret the prophecy. If you think you know exactly what's going on, you probably don't. Another way prophecies are often used in Greek story, in addition to, giving the character thing to do, they're also used to highlight and underline tragedy, and essentially the powerless of man to have any control over his destiny.
Sounds about right.
And a good example of this is going to be Oedipus, the play by Sophocles. And DJ, you may know this one.
I do. Doesn't mean I like it.
Doesn't mean nobody likes this one. Here we go. It's top tier Greek tragedy, and it starts with the king of Thebes, whose wife is about to have a baby. And the Oracle of Delphi shows up and is like, listen, you're going to be slain by your son's hand. And instead of just pledging to be a cool, supportive dad who, would never have to be killed by his son, or maybe gets super sick and is dying and cannot be healed, and his son helps put him out of his misery, even though it's a great pain, something like that. Yeah. He leaves the newborn baby on a mountain. And then we smash cut to a few decades later, and the king is killed while traveling on the road, but nobody really has time to deal with that because there is a sphinx attacking Thebes.
The Sphinx.
The Sphinx. But good news, some guy named Oedipus rolls up and just takes care of the problem. Because he was in town. Why not? He's there.
He also killed his
Everyone's
dad.
like, okay, well, thanks for giving away the end of this story, Davis.
You just said the king of Thebes died.
Yeah.
Slain by his son's hand. I mean,
okay,
come on.
But
come on. No, that story says that the baby was picked up and named Oedipus. You cannot skip that shit.
I can skip what I want. This podcast is about retelling stories to make them better.
That doesn't mean it's better. This story sucks. This story is uncomfortable through and through.
I don't appreciate the energy you're bringing to this podcast. So, yes, we find out later that Oedipus was the one that killed the king because the king was being an asshole and attacked Oedipus while he was on the road, so Oedipus took him down. All right. There's that. Now, Oedipus also gets to marry the recently widowed queen because, we need a new king. This guy killed the Sphinx. Awesome. Then we find out that Oedipus left his home because he had received a prophecy from the Oracle of Delphi, letting him know that he was going to kill his father, marry his mother, and also go blind. Yeah. And then when everybody realizes that Oedipus was the one that killed the king, oh shit, you're the baby, you're the son. Oh my god, they already had a couple of kids. It's terrible. Oedipus blinds himself. Yeah.
Oedipus, everybody. If you like that story,
Oedipus, Greek tragedy.
I mean, it's all right, but I saw a joke about I can't even remember what guy called it the Oedipus complex, where every dude wants to fuck his mom.
Yeah, that's Freud.
Yeah. I saw a joke where it's like Oedipus looking down was like, dude, I gouged my eyes out when I found out I fucked my mom.
Yeah. I don't know why we keep teaching Freud in college level classes like he has any fucking merit to bring to the table. I've had to deal with him in my psychology class on childhood development, in my Authors of American Literature class we're talking about his like psychoanalysis, and he even showed up in my theology class.
Oh jeez.
When discussing the various arguments against the existence of God.
I guess you could talk about the Oedipus complex being psychology.
Yeah, I mean, here's what's wild, though. Like, we talk about it as, like, he was a famous psychologist, he had a lot of theories. Like, that's fine to discuss in the historical context, but they are never followed up with, but also it was kind of all creepy bullshit, and nobody subscribes to this anymore, and I don't know why we put this in our psychology book.
Yeah.
Or why we're treating this as if...
tradition?
What the fuck? Motherfucker.
Yeah, it's not the best.
But Oedipus and many of other stories like that involve a prophecy usually are tragic because it was the actions of the individuals trying to avoid the prophecy that make this tragedy come true in the first place. Like, if the king hadn't abandoned the baby on the mountain, he wouldn't have grown up not knowing who his parents were and then accidentally killed his dad. Like, if Oedipus hadn't left home to avoid the thing, he wouldn't have killed the king and then married the queen. Like, it does tie into this idea that the Greeks had, where we talked about during the Fates episode, where there is no free will. What will be, and every decision you make is just going to bring you to this predetermined destiny. For good or for ill, it doesn't matter. This is what's going to happen.
Yep. And
so we kind of see that a lot when prophecies show up in modern media, in that... Well, not a lot. I think there
Before
are...
we get too far, let's talk about the prophecy that showed up in Lightning Thief.
Oh my god, that's a great idea. That definitely sounded like you're about to segue into, and here's from our sponsor. And I'm like, we don't have sponsors. No, that's great.
If you want to sponsor us, you should totally get on that. Email us or tweet at us. Like, we'll fucking...
I got a business plan. But we need more downloads, and then we can get sponsors. Okay.
You're never too early for sponsors.
So this is great. Yeah, so...
Moving on, back to the topic at hand. The prophecy from Percy Jackson's and the Olympians.
Yeah, the prophecy from the mummy.
Prophecy from the mummy in 70s getup. The hippie mummy.
Hippie mummy.
It is, you shall go west and face the god who is turned. You shall find what was stolen and see it safely returned. You shall be betrayed by one who calls you friend. And you shall fail to save what matters most in the end. Now that shit...
It's a good prophecy.
It's a great prophecy. Obviously, nobody knows what the fuck it meant when it first came out.
No.
Absolutely not.
Everyone thought they knew.
Everyone was like, the god who's turned, that's gotta be Hades.
Gotta be Hades.
The stolen, see it safe returned. Obviously, we're gonna return the lightning bolt. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but also the helm.
And betrayed by one who calls you friend. Who's gonna betray me, dude? I'm fucking
son of the sea god. Yeah, that was like the hang up.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Woo!
We talked about this a lot in the Lightning Thief episode. But yeah, it is a great prophecy. And here's a fun fact. Way more useful than the prophecy that Perseus of Greek mythology receives when he's gonna go fight Medusa. When OG Perseus rolls up and talks to the Oracle of Delphi, this is the prophecy he gets. Seek the land where men eat not Demeter's golden grain, but only acorns.
What the fuck does that mean, Oracle of Delphi?
What? Yeah. So, well, apparently, there's this place called Dodona, and the people there make bread out of acorns. So Perseus goes there. But they actually couldn't give him any directions to Medusa's place anyway. Which is fine, because then Athena and Apollo have gotten involved, or maybe it was Hermes have gotten involved. Athena has gotten involved at that point, and that everything works out for Perseus. But yeah, the prophecy that our boy Percy Jackson got, way more useful.
Oh yeah.
Way more useful. Yeah. Like, not helpful. They could have asked, just where does Medusa live? But no. In a rhyme. Was she baking bread out of acorns?
Maybe.
No. Oracle of Delphi, I don't know what you're smoking today, but it's not strong enough to be useful.
What if, like, most of the stone people that she had are just from that group?
Oh, true. We don't know. Could be totally different. You need to go there. Yeah, those are the prophecies.
Man, I'm just looking through all the prophecies in the series. Oh, absolutely. All of these fucking prophecies are really useful.
Oh, they're actually great.
God damn
for
it.
Plot. Like, they're all good.
That's
what's interesting...
Anyway.
I mean, if you're listening to this because you've never listened to the Percy Jackson series, that's wild, and thank you for joining us. You should read that.
Fucking...
Oh, the Son of Neptune's one. Fucking... Yeah. I fell into that rabbit hole too when I was doing my research. But yeah, so what's interesting in the Percy Jackson series for this prophecy is that the prophecies are never used really to underline tragedy the same way they were in, like, Oedipus or, like, Greek tragic plays. Sometimes it's tragic, right? Sometimes it does predict something tragic happening, but rarely do the heroes ever try to avoid prophecies coming true. The gods kind of maybe tried to do that by promising not to have kids, and then
they go and do it anyway.
You know, that they fucking did it anyway. They literally fucking did it anyway.
Yep.
But yeah, so I think that is really interesting I don't believe we ever run into, in the series, in any of the Greek series that Rick Riordan has written, no one is trying to avoid destiny or prophecy. Like, Percy knows his destiny when he, like, learns about the big three prophecy, and that does suck. And it actually does cause him to act later
when he finds out about, like, Thalia and Nico.
Yeah.
When he finds out about Thalia, he's like, oh, maybe finally I won't be the one.
Maybe it's not me.
And when he sees Nico, he's like, fuck, I can't let him be the one. It's gotta be me.
Yeah, that it's gotta be me. Like, and I think so. It is used to underline Percy's, like,
development, bravery,
and his values, really, really, because he could have found some way. Like Thalia was like, I don't want to do this. And to be fair, my girl spent a few years as a pine tree. Oh, yeah. I don't blame her. She's done her time. Like, she does not have to be the child of prophecy. She can go help run the Hunters of Artemis, and that's great. Good for fucking her.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And Nico has already dealt with a bunch of trauma.
Nico lost his sister the first time Percy showed up, and Percy felt so fucking bad.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we're talking about book 3 now. Yeah, it's a lot. So no, Nico also doesn't have to be the one to put up with shit. So Percy decides, he's like, no, it's going to be me. And that's kind of cool. Because you don't usually see, when there is a prophecy, somebody running headfirst towards it.
Yeah, Percy is, like, fucking just a good guy and a good character.
Good egg.
Like, fucking good.
Good egg Percy. Good. Mm-hmm. Just good.
Anyway, let's get to prophecies in pop culture.
So prophecies. So yeah, there are prophecies, and usually when there is, like, a prophecy, it is... Well, I think, like what we just about Percy, like, it is...
Unavoidable?
The hero might be trying to run away from it. They might be trying to avoid it or whatever. In the Lord of the Rings series, there is a prophecy called the Riddle of Strider. And it goes like this. All that is gold does not glitter. Not all those who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by the frost. From the ashes as fire shall be woken. A light from the shadows shall spring. Renewed shall a blade be broken. The crownless shall again be king.
Do you think the start of that was inspired by Smash Mouth's All-Star?
Oh, I know it was.
Gold.
Tolkien was just so
he fucking hated that line. He's like, all that glitters is not gold.
yeah. He was a huge hang-up on it, yep. But so this poem is specifically, like I said, referring to Aragorn and the fact that he's going to come back and be the king and reclaim the throne and, like, help lead this, like, era of man. Of course, Aragorn really doesn't want to do that. We see he super doesn't want to do that. He doesn't think he's capable of doing that. He does spend a bit of time kind of running away from his destiny. Also, I don't know how the line, not all those who wander are lost, got, like, scooped out of this Lord of the Rings poem and, like, slapped on, like, every hippie granola backpacker notebook you've ever seen at a thrift market. But it drives my friend Kate a little crazy when she sees it, because she's like, no, because it's not about, oh, you could wander, but whatever. It's literally specifically about Aragorn.
Yeah.
He wanders, but he is not lost. Like, it's not about it's a prophecy. It's referring to one dude, and it drives her up a fucking wall. But it's fascinating. But yeah, it's like that. Another way we see prophecy used in both, like, Percy Jackson and in, like, other media is kind of like the big three prophecy. The prophecy about how, like, the child of the big three who will turn 16 will do all these things. Oh, they don't stop having kids because of the prophecy. They stop having kids because of World War II. I don't know why I said that earlier. I knew that.
Well, like, the prophecy came after World War II.
After World War II.
And so, like, at the time that the prophecy probably came out, like, yeah, that kind of sucks, because, like, we don't want a child deciding our fate, and so...
The Great Prophecy is what this one is called. So it's not revealed until the last book, which is, like, another theme used where we know there is a prophecy. We know it kind of exists, but it is not revealed. We see this in... Like, oh, so here's the Great Prophecy. I'm just going to read it. A half-blood of the eldest gods shall reach 16 against all odds, and see the world in endless sleep. The hero's soul cursed blade shall reap. A single choice shall end his days, Olympus to preserve or raise. And so, right, yeah, you're right. The big three are like, we should stop having kids because we don't want some, like, fucking half-blood destroying all of Olympus.
Yeah. And it's fucking hilarious. Like, against all odds is so fucking true, because literally everyone's out to get Percy.
Oh, everybody. It's amazing. It's amazing that he made it to 12.
Every single god is out to get Percy, except for Poseidon. Mm-hmm. Poseidon's kind of chill. Mm-hmm. Fucking all the monsters, all the titans, dude. Fucking they're all out to get this little fucking 12-year-old dude. And he fucking makes it. It's crazy. And he spends, like, a majority of the year outside of camp.
Yep. So the fun part about that is, so we know vaguely that the prophecy exists. Like, we kind of get hints of, like, something bigger going on, that Percy... just being the son of Poseidon isn't necessarily what has everybody so freaked out. Like, there's something more. And so we know that's kind of around going forward. We don't actually get that prophecy revealed until the last Olympian, until book 5, really.
And we get knowledge of the Great Prophecy at the end of Lightning Thief.
Yeah, we're aware it exists, but we don't actually get it. I think we see a lot of prophecies that are like that in other media. In his Dark Materials by Philip Pullman, there is a prophecy about the main character, Lyra. But she doesn't know what it is, and she's only vaguely aware that it exists. And, like, nobody will tell her or can tell her. But eventually, we, the reader, it is revealed that the prophecy is basically, like, there's this line that has got everybody freaked out about a girl who is destined to bring about the end of destiny.
Whoa.
And then that explains why everybody's, like, maybe being, like, weird about Lyra. You also see this in Harry Potter. There is that prophecy, the one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord approaches. Born to those who have thrice defied him, born as the 7th month dies. And the Dark Lord will mark him as his equal, but he of the power of the Dark Lord knows not. And neither must die at the hand of the other, for neither can live while the other survives. The one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord will be born as the 7th month dies.
It's kind of a sloppy prophecy.
Not as good as hippie mummy prophecies, I think.
No, kind of a sloppy prophecy, it feels like.
Sloppy prophecies, kind of all over the place. Why
it's
you
all
don't
over
need to
the place,
repeat.
but it's like on the nose too. Like,
it's so on the nose. It is. But this is another one that, so Harry doesn't know the prophecy for a really long time. Eventually we learn about it, but it is like, this is why everybody's like, whoa, this kid. Well, also because he was a baby and didn't get murdered by, like, fucking super Nazi, whatever.
Yeah.
But this is another one where we see that it comes to pass specifically because someone involved in the prophecy tried to keep it from happening. Like, Voldemort decided, yeah, this is about the Potter kid. Okay, I'll just go kill him. It's fine. But then, doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
Well, it doesn't work because, and here's something that I hear a lot of, like, I listen to a lot of, like, great Harry Potter podcasts. They're super fun. But, like, one thing that annoys me is, like, how people get hung up on the fact that, like, Harry was protected because Lily sacrificed herself to, like, try to save him. And the argument is, like, well, surely other people have done that. Why did it only work for Harry? And the answer, which is kind of obvious, so it annoys me that people don't pick up on it, is because Lily literally didn't have to die. Voldemort gave her the opportunity to get out of the way. He told her to get out of the way. Like most people who try to stand in the way for Voldemort, it doesn't matter. He'll happily kill you and then the person he wanted to kill. Lily had a choice. She literally could have walked away. Voldemort promised fucking fuckboy incel Snape that he's like, okay, I'll spare Lily. That's a great way
to fucking... No, it's true. It's absolutely true. He's a fucking piece of shit.
This is not a Harry Potter podcast, but we're talking about the prophecy. So, again, because Voldemort...
promised Snape.
He promised Snape he wouldn't kill Lily. He gave Lily the chance to leave, and Lily's like, no. Like, no, I'm going to do everything I can. Even if I can't do anything, I'll do everything I can. And so Voldemort's like, fine, and he kills her. And then, because that casts, magic, because it was a broken vow, it was a sacrifice, Harry is protected. And so then he dies. And then he does mark Harry with the lightning bolt scar as equal. Harry has that power. That's what all of that is. And it never would have happened if Voldemort did not try to prevent the prophecy from happening.
Yeah.
Another example I'd like to talk about for that one real quick, which pisses me off to no end. I actually hate it when characters know their future and then make it happen because they tried so hard to stop it. And I blame Merlin for this. I blame BBC's Merlin for me having this deep-seated fucking hatred for this, like, trope. Because that goddamn John Hurt dragon knew the future and would often just tell Merlin, oh, you should do this, or you can't do this. But, like, specifically about Mordred. Mordred shows up in season 1 as, like, this little baby druid boy, and the king is gonna kill him, but, like, of course, like, Arthur and Morgana are like, no, what? This is bullshit. We're gonna save the kid. And, like, Merlin's supposed to come help them. And then the dragon says, no, you can't. You can't help him because that child is destined to grow up and, like, kill Arthur. And then in the episode, they do save him, and you find out that he's Mordred. And it's like, oh, no, it's Mordred. What? But then Mordred shows up later as an adult, and he's great, and he's loyal to Arthur, and he does have magic, and it's fine. But, like, because Merlin knows this shit, smash cut to, like, several times later, and Mordred is, like, deadly injured. Like, mortally wounded. He's dying. They take him to, like, some magic women who are like, we can help him. We'll help you, Arthur, but only if you accept magic back into Camelot. So Arthur goes to Merlin. He's like, I trust you with my life because the show is full of queer baiting, but we never fucking committed. Hey, do you think I should bring magic back to Camelot? Like, what? They say they'll save Mordred if we do that, but, like, I don't know, it's a lot. My dad was, like, super against it, even though he sucked, but I still, like, think I should, like, what do you think? Merlin, who all he wants is to bring magic back to Camelot, has, like, this, like, heart-wrenching decision, like, no, if we let them save Mordred, he'll kill you, Arthur. We can't let magic be back. You're right. I never should have doubted you. So then he's like, no. So then the magic women do save Mordred, because that would hurt Arthur ultimately. So there's no magic. There's Mordred. Arthur dies because Mordred eventually does side with Morgana because Arthur's being shitty about magic.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah, and it never would have happened if Merlin didn't know the future about Mordred, because of course he would have been like, yeah, bitch, let's get magic back. And then you know what? They probably still would have saved Mordred, because if there was magic around, Mordred wouldn't have, like, turned on Arthur. It would have been fine. Yeah. So I hate it. I actually hate it so much. Fuck. Talk about your prophecy. I need a moment. Davis brought a prophecy.
I did. I brought several prophecies, mainly because it's just like how this game goes. It's called Kingdoms of Amalur. I wanted to bring it up in the Fates episode because it revolves heavily around fate, and I honestly just super spaced on it at the time.
Oh yeah. Oh, you told me about this after the fact. Yes. I'm so glad we can do it now.
Fucking cool as shit. I highly recommend it to anyone who can play it. It's about, like, a world. The Kingdoms of Amalur, that, like, some people are called fate weavers, and they can read your tapestry of fate and tell you your future, you know? And they can even do it to themselves and find out when they die and shit like that. It's stellar. And when they read your characters, this is really early in the game. One guy comes up and he reads your character. He's like, bro, this never happened before. You don't have a tapestry at all. Like, your fate is unbound. Like, what the fuck is going on with you?
Ooh.
And it's cool, because, like, you also you don't find out, but, like, at the very start of the game, you see a cutscene of gnomes, the gnome race, experimenting with the dead and magic to, revive them, and you're the only successful one. And so now you are unbound from your own fate, and you can do whatever the fuck you want in this world. But that's
super interesting.
There's the phase, right? Like, and their whole lives revolve around fate. Like, obviously, but obviously these guys can't die per se, but they can perish momentarily and come back in, like, 100 years just to restart their story and do it all over again.
Ooh.
And so it's like, you show up and you start like talking to everyone. It's like, yeah, we're currently going through this book, and like the book is the prophecy, and it's like General Green has to go fight this person, but he knows it's a losing battle because this has been done hundreds of times before, and he's just gonna die. And this person's gonna take over this area, and it's gonna just like go back and forth between all of this magic shit. So your character shows up, and the way the way the Fae tell who people are really is like insignias and rings and necklaces that they wear, right? So you find like Sir Green dying on the fucking ground, and you're like, this is my story now. You grab his ring and you kill the bitch. You fucking flip fate, and everyone's like, holy shit, how'd you do that? And you go around, and then like, if you continue down that story, you keep flipping fucking books left and right, and everyone's like, dude, you gotta stop this shit. Like, we don't know what the hell's going on. And eventually you become king, because the king has a book where he fucking dies and you take his crown. And he's like,
that's amazing.
No, it's super fucking cool. Like, I highly recommend this game to anyone. They just remastered it a couple months ago.
What's it called again?
Kingdoms of Amalur.
And what's it available on?
Let's actually see what the new ones. I played on Steam, so I don't really. Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. I know it was available on PS3 and Xbox 360. What is Reckoning available? It looks like it's also available for PlayStation 4 and possibly Xbox One. Okay. Because like if it's on Steam, it's available for the other two. Or if it's on PS4 and it was previously on Xbox 360, it's probably available on Xbox One. And again, I cannot stress enough how much I recommend this game.
Sounds fun.
Like RPG games, but this game fucking changed the game for me on them. Like, I tried Skyrim again. I still didn't like it, but I tried it again.
That's how good it was. It was willing to let you, like, rethink the genre. Fabulous. I love it.
Fucking love that game. That game is so cool. I can go off on fucking tangents about that game, dude. That game is incredible.
I'm sure we will.
I need to replay it because I wanted to play the sorcerer class. There are 3 different classes in the game of warrior, sorcerer, and, well, I think it's like called wizard, and rogue. And so it's like, I played through with the rogue, and that was fun. Like, you got a little fun, like, fast DPS, but I'm like, I need to play through that game again.
What does DPS mean?
Damage per second.
Thank you. I love that. So on that note, when talking about, like, you're getting the prophecy, like, directly from the fates themselves, I want to talk about the Oracle, because we spend a lot of time talking about the prophecies, but I want to talk about, I guess, her specifically, because she's not traditionally an active player.
No.
Not in Greek myths. She'll tell the myths. Not really in Percy Jackson, where we find out like her fate of this particular oracle who gave the prophecy about the big 3 in the first place, and like why she's a hippie mummy in the attic.
Yeah, we figured that out at that last Olympian.
So it's interesting because and of course like the Greeks aren't the first one to have prophecies, and so when a prophecy is being like it's not necessarily remixing Greek fates. Just like how when characters are prophetic, it's usually not necessarily. They're not like really referencing Greek, the Oracle of Delphi herself, often because the powers from characters with like future vision or foresight or like precogs, that ability usually comes from something within themselves or something they have learned. Well, for example, basically any X-Man who can see in the future and has precog, like that's it. Phoebe from Charmed, she could see future visions. Garnet from Steven Universe I actually talking about if we're gonna like rank characters who could see the future. That would have been a fun activity.
Oh yeah.
Garnet is my favorite because I love her future vision. I love that like Sapphire originally was like really could only see the one future because
she could kind of see it too.
Yeah, well she could see it clearly because where she lived, like in the gem society, nobody acted outside of what was expected of them. So for her, there was only one future forever. Yeah. And then Ruby's there, and then she fuses, and suddenly she has the ability, and she can see all the possibilities of what is most likely and least likely. And I love that. I love that Garnet can do that, and I think her future vision is used very well in Steven Universe. But again, she's not. I would not call her really an oracle.
No, and it's like as well. Like there's a character in a webtoon that I read called God of Highschool, who's got a very similar thing, but instead of seeing like different timelines, he can see the future. Like he can see what they're about to do, and react to it. And sure, it's probably only like couple of seconds. I think sometimes he can see like fucking way in advance, you know. But that's in like life or death situations. But there are like that sets up for really cool times where Dean sees into the future, and normally, he reacts. He reacts and like fucking counters accordingly. But there are times he'll see in the future like, there's nothing I can do to stop this.
Wow,
and he gets fucking murked.
So Pokemon. I just thought what you were telling me. There are also Pokemon who can see in the future.
Yeah, super weird.
But and it's interesting because usually when like, future sight is used, it's usually because, we have to change it, right? We have to change whatever's going to happen. Like in Heroes, there are some characters who can see in the future. This one guy who's like a comic book artist can like paint it and stuff. Isaac Mendez. He was really cool. His character should have gone more places. Heroes as a whole should have gone more places. Whatever. I named my cat after Hiro Nakamura. It's fine. Fine. I wish I could travel through time and teleport. So usually when, the future is like there, it's like a plot point. We need to stop this from happening, right? Oh, there's going to be a massive explosion. We got to stop. It has sometimes it happens anyway, but like more often than not, I think in like modern pop culture and modern tellings, it is like finding a way to prevent it from happening or maybe they make it worse, maybe they make it better. But oftentimes, like I said, and this is not true for every single one, but more often than not, when I was like looking up or remembering characters with future vision, like I said, that power comes from themselves or maybe like a tarot, crystal balls, they have visions, whatever. It's like an ability that they inherently have. It rarely comes from external sources. Yeah. With one notable exception, and this is clearly not the only exception, but this is the one that I found and also have experience with, and it is the medicine cats and leaders from the Warrior Cat series by Aaron Hunter.
Right on.
Yeah. See, so the Warrior Cats series, for anybody who doesn't know, is a series of middle grade books about cats, and they have society, and it's great. And I read it. I read all of them.
Of middle grade books, so.
I read when I was in middle school. I read every single one that was out. One of the key features is that some
Bears version of that one.
They had a Bears version. They had it. Look, it was very impressive. You could do a lot with that, and I respect it.
I got to like book 3 and then I stopped reading it because I don't know.
It's fun. It's been showing up on my Instagram discoveries recently because I think I follow one artist who did one art of the characters, and I did like it because I'm like, oh shit, is that Firestar? Wow, throwback. And now Instagram's like, you want to see Warrior Cat stuff? And I'm like, I really don't.
No, I do. Let's fucking go, Instagram.
No, because I don't understand what's happening. Who are these people?
Yeah.
Who are these cats?
Has it continued?
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It's still going on. Yeah. Okay, so some of the cats have the ability to see into the future. The medicine cats, that's kind of their whole thing. Some of the leaders, there's literally prophecies that they have received that they receive from their ancestors, these like deceased cats. They are called the Star Clan, and they are the ones that give these cats these prophecies, these prophetic visions. And I'm not saying it's like Apollo and the Oracle of Delphi, but that is exactly what I'm saying.
Very similar.
Yep. And that's I think the end of the episode. DJ.
Oh, fuck, man. I gotta talk about one of my favorite games of all time. It's in my top 5 for sure.
Perfect. We'll definitely talk more about games. Again, we have a whole episode where we're going to just talk about the underworld in video games.
Hell yeah. Gonna be exciting.
DJ, do you have any prophecies for our wonderful, lovely listeners?
No. I was gonna do something like stupid Mars did in Son of Neptune, but I just couldn't fucking think of anything.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Here's a fucking prophecy for you.
Here's a prophecy. It's 3 lines. It doesn't rhyme, and it's very straightforward. And if you got a problem with it, I don't give a shit.
Well, I have a prophecy. I predict that our listeners will tell their friends about us.
Hopefully.
That they'll tell a family member, that they'll tell a friend, that they'll just mention it in that Facebook group where they usually post Baby Yoda memes. But sometimes someone just happened to talk about the future, what's going to happen, and they're like, hey, this is relevant.
Hey, I just listened to this episode of a podcast. It'll be great. Just spread the word, please.
Spread the word.
We need it. We need the publicity. You want us to get sponsors, don't we?
No!
Do you want us to be fucking corporate shills? Because I'll do it. I'll be a corporate shill. Staples, hit me up.
You can't reference a joke I'm going to cut. Thank you all again for spending another episode with us. We've had a lot of fun. And until next time, don't be like Zeus.
Don't be like Zeus.
Podcast of Poseidon is created, produced, and hosted by Darien and DJ Smartt. It's edited by Darien Smartt.
Our music is Athens Festival by Martin Hain. Our cover art is by Audrey Miller. Find her on Instagram at bombshellnutshellart.
Coming out with us on Instagram and Twitter at Podcast of Poseidon. Find all our episodes and episode transcripts at podcastofposeidon.com.
Thanks for listening.